Welcome back, everyone, to the show. Today, we are joined by Bhavini Jagpal, the creative force behind Bespoke the Company. Bhavini is not only the founder, but also the artistic director of Bespoke, and she's built a team of incredible dancers, performers, and choreographers who specialize in a range of styles, including Bollywood, Bhangra, Kathak, hip-hop, Ghana, contemporary, and many more. Since starting the company back in 2016, she's been all about creating performances that are tailored, meaningful, and unforgettable, be it for weddings, corporates, or large cultural events. I've known Bhavini personally for many years, and among the many things that I admire about her, what I love about her the most is how much heart she puts into her work. It's apparent that she's deeply rooted in authenticity, respect, and professionalism, and also has this warm, collaborative energy that makes every project she does feel very special. We're going to dive into her journey today, her creative process, and the stories behind some of her most memorable performances. So welcome, Bhavini, to VGS.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm truly honoured to be invited.
Oh, and am I correct in saying that this is your first podcast ever?
Absolutely, absolutely.
How are we feeling?
Good. Excited. I've been following your kind of podcast for years now, so really, really excited to be invited and being part of it. So
I'm
thank
looking
you.
forward to chatting about your journey because it's been a very unique and very interesting one. And I stand by the fact that I have so much respect for what you do as a creative, as an artist, the way you lead your company. I've been to your workshops. I've come out feeling so empowered, so held, and just so I feel part of something that you're building, which is becoming a movement. So really proud and congratulations on that.
Thank you so much. That means so much coming from you, and I'm so glad you've been able to experience it firsthand.
It's been awesome. I've enjoyed myself so much in classes, and I think we'll get into this a little bit, but dance can be it can be an interesting space to be a part of where, there can be a lot of focus on, for example, how you look or, what your exact technique is. And nowadays, obviously bringing social media into the mix, it's just brought a whole new dimension into the pressures that we experience as dancers.
Absolutely.
So how have you actually, I guess, adapted to specifically the post-COVID era where now everything is on reels and, a lot of, dancing is actually tailored towards how it's going to appear on a small camera, on a small screen on a phone. Do you actively think about that when you are, choreographing or even conducting yourself around your clients?
In all honesty, with clients specifically, I'm going to probably lean towards no a little bit more. Yes, I'm mindful of content, but especially when dealing with clients, we're a service-based business. So the last thing the client is concerned about is content. And the next, they're not interested in necessarily providing the content to sell on to the next client. For them, it's the experience, the service they're gaining from us. So that is at the forefront of everything we do. Having said that, the team-based stuff, and that's, general choreography, teaching material, training material, we do consider content, but we still very much focus on the real life experience of it all. So we really try to focus on capturing it as it is, as opposed to creating something for the screen, if that makes sense. So really we work with the best videographers and the best kind of creatives to make sure they can capture what we're doing, as opposed to creating to show something, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's quite visible in the energy in the room whenever I've attended your classes. And I think it shows the amount of fun people are having in class. And I think what's quite unique about Bespoke is the camaraderie within the team. Is that something that you have actively made sure to curate, or is that something you've been, you found has happened quite naturally?
I think it's a little bit of both. We really facilitate it with the culture and how we run the space, and how, for example, you'll know Udi, she's our team manager. She's a phenomenal artist, but also very much aware of the space, very much aware of the people. So she really pushes people to understand each other, really build real relationships, as do I. And then that kind of organically invites a certain type of person to work with us, which we're really proud to have. We've got 10 now. We have just brought on 2 new dancers. And actually, because we invite a certain type of dancer, not even a certain type, but certain type of personalities, if you like, we all kind of share similar values. So that organically brings us together, and we very much appreciate a space and the people within there and try to work collectively to deliver anything we do. So yeah, I suppose that is kind of driven by both the people that join us and the way we insist that the space should be.
I think we can go in a lot of detail about Bespoke itself, but I want to take a step back and talk about you, where you grew up, and what kind of child were you when you were growing up?
Oh gosh. I born and raised in London. I grew up in northwest London, but I grew up around kind of very mixed cultures. So not very much around the Asian culture per se, but just a bit of everything. But family, mum and dad very much kept the culture and things alive in our lives through kind of day-to-day practices, through movies, through introducing us to different types of things. It's through that I discovered my love for dance. But as a child, so my journey is quite different. When you describe me as a young child, apparently I was very loud. I'm told this all the time. As a toddler, I was very vocal. You could hear me upstairs if I was downstairs and vice versa. But then I think as I grew a little bit older, I became a little bit more introverted, a little bit quieter, a little bit more shy, funnily enough. And at this stage, it's almost alien when people hear that, because they're like, well, but you're a dancer. That doesn't make any sense. But actually, off stage, I'm a relatively, I'm not going to say quiet, a little bit more introverted, unless I've got to know someone really well. And then I am absolutely wild. And my friends in Bespoke will tell you all about how crazy I am. But I'm very social. I like to be around people. I'm extroverted in a comfortable environment where I know the people, but generally relatively shy and a little bit reserved growing up. So it's really been a bit of loud, then a little bit quieter, and then a little bit louder is what I'm told. It's an interesting journey.
Can you pinpoint the moment when you became a little bit more introverted? Was there anything specific that actually, caused it? Or do you think it was just a natural consequence of getting older?
I don't think there's anything specific. I think it's probably just growing up and seeing more of the world. And I guess I just became a little bit more shy, but my parents were adamant that was, my mum especially, adamant that that's not how it, you can't be this quiet. No. Go and ask for this. Go and ask for this. Go and order this. It was always encouraged. So it was that my parents very much built that confidence in me, but I was a little bit quieter when I think it's probably joining school and things, probably, after a couple of years into primary school, social circles, that kind of thing, I probably became a little bit quieter after that. Maybe just discovered a different side of my personality, maybe. But yeah, nothing overt that had happened that had kind of changed that in me.
You are, I believe, the eldest of 3 sisters.
I am, yes.
Does that sort of eldest child syndrome or that sort of maternal instinct ever kick in when it comes to, I guess when you're interacting with your sisters? But also, does that then also translate into how you run your company?
Oh, very much so, yes. I'd say I'm definitely like older sister character to my sisters as well. As much as if you see us together, they're both taller than I am. So I tell them off looking upwards, as much as I try to tell them off that that's not really going to have any consequences when you're being told off by me. But I am very maternal, very protective of my sisters especially. But also, yes, that really carries through in Bespoke, because what we insist on is a family kind of structure, family vibe. We really invest in each other and understand who we are as people outside of being the dancer. So when that level of understanding is there with everybody in the team, I'm almost pulled to have this kind of protective nature of them. So, you know, anything going on, it doesn't have to be dance related. I very much encourage the team to talk to me, let me know what's going on, speak to the manager. We are very much a part of each other's lives beyond just the dance space. And I think that really comes from my wanting to take care of the team, and take care of my, like having that caring nature embedded into me almost. But it really does, yeah, I think it really carries through in everything I do. And often I get, you know, oh, you're all right, mum. Okay, yes, we know. And I'm like, yeah, but if I don't say it, you'll probably forget. So in moments like that, I'm really paying kind of older sister, mum sometimes. And we joke about it, but I don't actually try to do that in any shape, way or form. But yeah, it's a natural kind of personality trait off the back of being the eldest child, yeah.
And I guess speaking of bringing that trait into your founder responsibilities, have you ever found, or do you find that sometimes that can be, I don't know, a little bit detrimental, where like the boundary can be blurred? Or when it comes to, you know, specific things, like does your team know, okay, now she's got her like CEO founder hat on, we can't like, you know, we can't challenge it? Or yeah, do you feel like you wear different hats basically at different points?
Yes, I suppose so, yes. I think with the team, I very much I don't make my, you know, me being any different to them known. Like, if anything, they just see it as, oh, well, you do all the extra admin stuff that none of us want to do. But really, it's in the space, I am the same as everybody else. I don't expect us, you know, there's not a certain point where it's like, oh, Bab's here, don't say that, or don't push on that. No, everybody's got a voice in the space. It's really, my kind of role really kicks in when it's client work. So when a client needs someone specific to talk to, they obviously need a face. So that would be me. I'm the one that will kind of liaise, book, etc., do the kind of planning in the background, all those kinds of things. But when it comes to representation in the space and in front of the clients, it's not ever Bhavini and her dance, it's bespoke. And a lot of the time, it's not easily identifiable who is who in the team, who's new, who's not. And that's by design. So we really make sure. So from that perspective, it's not, I don't really walk into the space and everyone's like, oh my God, babe, Bab's here. I wish I got that. Sometimes I really wish I got that. I don't. If anything, they will kind of turn it up a little bit more when I walk in. I'm also the group target. And I'm always like, well, I manage you guys. Seriously, there should be some kind of fear here. No fear whatsoever. But it's a really good thing. But when it comes down to really getting stuck into the work, and if we do need to kind of someone to lead and someone to say, okay, we really need to push this along, or when kind of that kind of nature of work is happening, yes, everybody does appreciate what my role is in that, what these role is, whoever it may be, if for example another dancer is leading that piece, well then that same respect is extended by me to that person. So it's not just a title puts me in that position, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think they see me with all these different hats, if you like, and different hats require different types of work and different types of behavior in the space. So I guess that's probably the best way I can put it. Long-winded way, but there you go.
Are there parts of that job that you enjoy less and parts that you enjoy more?
I love the collaborative working. That's my favorite, because I don't have to think about who I am in the business. I'm a creative like everybody else. That's like my favorite, when the pressure of being the director and founder isn't actually on my shoulders. I absolutely love kind of creating with whoever it may be. I suppose the parts that I find I don't enjoy as much is when difficult decisions need to be made. And, you know, when I need to be a little bit strict and I need to say, okay, guys, come on, enough is enough. We're going to have some, I know we're having fun, but we need to get this done. In all those moments, I'm like, I want to jump into the fun really, but it has to be done. So yeah, I'm aware it needs to be done. I don't love doing it, but it can't all be fun and games all the time. So.
There's always moments where I think Like I'm the same, where it's like, yeah, this is more than I've signed up for.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then the good moments make it worth it, right?
Absolutely.
What about the creative process itself? Because you've actually, over the years, done a lot of the choreography work yourself, right?
Yes.
Whether it's for the workshops or for the gigs or, the other client work you've done. So how do you make sure that you set aside, headspace for that work as well? And are you always like super, super proud of what you come up with, or are you always tweaking and you're like, oh, I could do better? What's that like for you?
Oh gosh, yes. I really, and here I have to shout out my team, because I really bounce off them quite a lot. So as much as I will happily say I choreograph everything for the team and things, I don't do it all alone, and not everything is mine. So and we make it very apparent when it isn't, and make sure we credit the people that do choreograph it. But the team they're almost like my, not critiques per se, but they're the friends I can go and check things with. If I will sometimes think I've done, in my head, I've got this amazing idea, but the execution, I still haven't figured out how I want to do it. So I'll put a rough draft together and I'll send it to Udi, for example. And I know I'm not happy with it. And she'll go, she's so candid, and she knows that I'm looking for really honest feedback. So she'll just say, no. And I'll go, oh, why? She goes, not your vision, not what you're trying to do. I can see it's not what you're trying to create. And I'll go, okay, fine. And then I'll go back and I'll go and do it again. And then I'll send her another one. She'll go, yeah, a little bit better. Like, now we're cooking, and we'll do it for each other. So it's really just that understanding of, we have an understanding of each other's styles, and what we really take a deep dive into what we're looking to create for each and every project, each and every client. And if it's not doing the choreographer justice, whether it be me, another choreographer, we will call each other out on it. So sometimes if you're creating loads, you can fall into this trap of just wanting to use familiar movements and familiar styles, and really we try to push out of that. And the best way to do that is really just bouncing ideas off the team, who are all different in disciplines. So it really brings a new level to whatever we're creating. So I very rarely do it. I'll choreograph it on my own, but I will very rarely do it without feedback.
Yeah.
So that feedback is so, so valuable. And sometimes I find myself choreographing under a lot of pressure, and I think I do better when I'm choreographing under pressure. And that will be on a drive somewhere. Like I'm driving home from work and I'm like, I have to get this done by tomorrow afternoon because I need to set it for a Sunday rehearsal. And that journey home, I'll be like, don't forget this. This is good. And then we'll have to film like a horrible home video just to keep it in my head. But yeah, so it really is. I bounce my ideas off a lot of the team, especially Udi and Nav. And I really just kind of check my own progress with them, because it's very easy to fall into a trap of creating a similar thing, which I am really try to avoid, because the nature of what we do is bespoke. So everything we do is it's different. It's created specifically for whether it be the client, the class, the project. So that's how we kind of keep it fresh.
Love that. And actually, speaking of Udi and Nav, I'm personally, as a dancer myself, such a fan of both of them as just artists.
Yep.
They are both incredible, and I think you've got such an amazing pool of talent within your team. How do you ensure that they're just flourishing and using everything that they've got when they're choreographing for the team?
I think it's really down to the fact that while we don't train we all don't have the same background. So for example, I've not danced heels anywhere near as long as Nav has, or Kutta as long as Udi has, or Afro, whatever it may be, their respective styles. We're all aware of each other's creative ability. So it's the way we kind of monitor each other, and especially the way that I push the team, and Udi and Nav specifically, because they do a lot of choreography for us, is it's based on how they deliver it. You can tell how they feel about it. The way they kind of check me, if you like, if I've created something and they've kind of very comfortably will say, no, that's not what you're looking to do. I'm also equally as aware, because we train and work together and have done so for so long. We have an understanding of each other's creative process. And sometimes you can very clearly see when someone is feeling good about their piece of work, or they're not, or they feel like it's not complete. And we're all very honest with each other. So the one thing that I really encourage, and this is not just with the Anav, this is across the board, and this is what keeps us all really fresh, is training outside. It's something that a lot of people ask me, oh, do you let Bespoke train with other people? And I'll say, it's not really for me to say if they're allowed to train with other people, because that's essentially me kind of, I guess, telling them how much they can grow, because what we do is bespoke. So everybody's got their own styles. Not all of that is trained in-house. So I really encourage people to go out and train, and that if it means that there's a heels class that I'm like, I've never done anything like that, Nav will go, come on, we're all going. And she'll pull us all to go to things. Or Udi will say, there's this such and such is here and there's this class, why don't we go? And we really just push each other to go out and train externally together in smaller groups as well. So that's because we spend so much time growing each other as dancers. It's very easy to identify when someone is happy with a piece of work and when they're not. So it's always giving, I think the best way to answer it is giving each and every artist the room and the space to create to where they're happy to, and not put a cap on it, and not say, well, the class is next week, so just teach what it needs to be taught. No, if you're not happy with it, then the class is not going to get booked. We create something, we've got to be happy with it, then it's delivered. That's what I feel positions us the best to deliver the best service. If we're happy with what we're delivering, people receive it that much better. And that's, if we love our routines, then by the end of it, we're having so much fun.
Yes.
It will stand out if someone's not having a good time. So then that will catch our attention. Oh, what's wrong? Is it because something's not clicking or whatever it is? So because we enjoy it, we encourage other people to enjoy it through our energy, if you like.
Yeah. I think energy is everything, and it's so obvious when people are having a good time in a class. And like I said at the start, every class of Bespokes that I've been to, I've always seen that and felt that energy from the whole team, and the way you position yourselves across the room, the way everyone's involved, helping out, the way there's like banter across the room. You can just, everyone, I think at the start, it's you're a bit like deer in headlights, especially if you don't know the team.
Yes.
As just someone who's attending the class. But then by the end of the class, I feel like everyone's just on the same level. That energy is really contagious. And I think that's something that in this sort of like digital era that we're in, it's probably, it's not an era, it's here to stay.
Yes.
I don't think it's appreciated enough, how much like that enjoyment, that fun, that joy from dance, which is predominantly how I see dance.
Absolutely.
It might not be how everybody sees it, but to me, that's why I do it. So I guess it's something I value. And again, that's why I have so much respect for, I guess, the ethos with which you and your team do this. So I guess just a very rogue, maybe slightly topic change question, but I am imagining that, I could be wrong, but I'm imagining that you grew up like watching loads of Bollywood and being super into it.
Yes.
So tell me a bit about, I guess, what kind of like films did you watch growing up, and like who did you look up to, or did you look up to anyone? Did you have any like actresses that you really loved and emulated when you danced at home?
So I'm a big Bollywood fan. Absolutely love all things Bollywood. I grew up on all kinds of Bollywood movies and music, and actually very, very early on, dance was a big part of what I did. With my family, my sisters, we have community events and we used to partake in a lot of that. But movies were like the heart and soul of where my inspiration and where my love for dance and Bollywood came from. So yeah, grew up on all things Bollywood, also Hollywood, all kinds of, funnily enough, a movie that really like I fell in love with as a younger girl was Honey. And that's all about dance. And she became a dance teacher. She added value. She went and, she shot music videos. And I remember thinking, oh, one day I'll be like Honey. I don't know what that means, but I wanted to be just like her. And I think in terms of Bollywood, you've got your kind of your main, well, your dancers like your Madhuris and your Aishwaryas, and they are kind of were always up there for me. And I loved a good Madhuri and Aishwarya Rai song. Like, doesn't matter what they did, what song it was, I would dance their song, and it would be the signature steps and then how we could switch it up. And they would always do these big dance numbers as well. So that the production side of things would always pull me in. But actually really loved like Prabhudeva type choreographies as well. Like the abstract, they're fun, they're not necessarily always delicate and femme. Those were really good choreographers for me too. So I think it's across Bollywood, the different types of dance and the different types of movies and the different types of dance numbers. Like, you know, whether it be a Madhuri dancing or Govinda, I think both were just equally as entertaining. And I think that's really what I grew up on. And I danced it all, you see. So whether it be kind of Garba productions or you know, teaching large groups kind of gender neutral choreographies, or Govinda specific, or Hrithik Roshan or Aishwarya Rai or Madhuri, whatever it was, I could do that. I could do the signature move, whatever you need. Every movie I used to watch growing up, but not so much anymore actually, which is odd. But, yeah.
I think it's probably a wider conversation that we're still looking for like a regular influx of really good films, because nowadays they're fewer and far between.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
In terms of your actual dancing and training, when did you actually find yourself kind of taking it more down a professional route?
So I danced very casually from, I think, as young as 7. And then when I really went, I walked into a professional space at the age of 16. I worked with a company then, and that's when I really got to experience different types of performances, and working as part of a bigger team. And so from 16, I then moved to another company where we did quite a bit of work at weddings and things like that. And then went to university, got loads of opportunities to choreograph there. While I was at university, I also joined a professional dance team, and we did a performance at the O2 Arena, which was phenomenal. So I kind of worked with a number of companies, all which were led by choreographers who had some kind of dance discipline, like core training. So whether it be a Bharatanatyam, a Kathak, kind of those classical bases. So there was always that level of discipline in the training that I received. So I wouldn't say I'm trained in formally anyway, not in classical dance, but I always was taught the disciplines of it, taught the correct ways of doing certain things, which meant that I really have been able to appreciate those dance styles. But yeah, my work across from 16 onwards there was a variety of work. So for all things kind of Bollywood, classical, Bhangra, kind of, really broad, really, through those companies, right through to 2016 when Bespoke came about.
Wow. And I know that you've been very intentional with, the kind of the ethos and the values that you've put into your company. What sort of things were you noticing about the industry that you were like, hang on, like, this is actually something that I want to do a bit differently when I run my own company?
If you know me, you know that I'm a 4'11", a small petite human. And I think one of the first things I encountered was, you need to look a particular way to be a successful dancer. You need to be tall, you need to weigh this much, you need to be a certain skin tone, you need to look a certain way, carry yourself a certain way. And not all of it did I agree with. I actually don't agree at all with the premise that a dancer should look a particular way. That's something I feel extremely strongly about. And it is one of the core values of Bespoke. It's one of the things that I absolutely do not allow in the company at all, through clients, through dancers, in any shape, way or form. So it's that, I think one of those is you have to look a certain way. I think others was the lack of appreciation for or inclusion of artists and dancers that get involved in a project. There was always kind of this this lead person followed by, it's actually been described to me as backup dancers. And some of those dancers don't realize that they are being signed to dance backup for somebody until they actually arrive at the training space. I myself personally don't like the premise of backup dancers. I've always really, really enjoyed a cohesive big team where loads of people are highlighted in different ways. Everybody's got loads of different strengths and weaknesses on stage. And it's about highlighting that, not, for me personally, creating what is what I believe is a perfect dancer and asking everybody to fit into that mold. Because I just don't think with each dance style, with each project, with each song, each type of music, there's different movements, there's different backgrounds, there's different inspirations that are pulled in. There's absolutely no space to kind of put a mold around what a dancer should look like or behave like or be like. I think a dancer should be free to be whoever they want to be and really reach that full potential. And I really think for a team especially for clients in the industry, I think the more diverse the better, because our offering is just that much better and that much more impressive and that much more creative and original. I think if you're trying to mimic someone, there's only so much mimicking you can do. And that mimicking only goes on until that lead person has reached their absolute goal. If they choose not to push themselves any further, then that's as far as your journey goes. So that's something the appearance part of it especially. And then there's also just general respect and treatment of dancers. I don't believe that anyone should have to fight for their place. I think there's room for everybody. And that's one thing I don't ever do that with my team. Well, there's this many spots, fight. Absolutely not. It's whoever's best for that particular project is selected, and we're all open about it, and everybody nominates each other. Oh my God, not me. Put her forward. And I'm like, you can't all do that. But it's actually really nice. It works the other way. We don't have people jumping up and saying, oh my God, I want this. It's like, oh, you should go for it, or you should go for it, or you should go for it. And that's something I didn't see a lot of coming up at all. There was not a push. It was who was the first to say me. And it's not necessarily about who's the best fit. It's just about who is the boldest to get out there and say it, or who is, whatever that particular choreographer or project lead wants from their dancers, whoever is doing what they want, as opposed to who is best fitted for that project. That's something that really I don't particularly resonate with, and I don't run my business that way. And it's really a core part of how we work. But the appearance and that box, I'm not a fan of at all. That's definitely something. And then I suppose the other thing is, and it's a bit of a sensitive one, and everybody's comfortable very much entitled to wear and dress and look however they please. One thing I did see coming up is this insistence that young and older dancers should dress a certain way. And I don't think if somebody's uncomfortable dressing a certain way, you should insist that they dress that way or they put that makeup on. And I came across some, younger girls, young teenagers who weren't comfortable wearing certain types of blouses or wearing bright red lipstick and things like that. And it was, well, you do it or you don't go on. And actually, I don't think even at our grown age that should ever be a position that an artist is put in, unless there is a specific requirement for the project, that there is, there's a specific look, and that's fine. But if someone's not comfortable, you don't force them to dress and make themselves up a certain way, I don't think. And it's almost through this, well, this is what a good dancer looks like and not a good dancer. And that's not even the truth. There is no, what does a good dancer look like? There is no look for a good dancer, in my opinion. So those are a few things that I did encounter, and I make it known in the space that is something we don't tolerate.
I agree that is very apparent in the values that you've placed in your company. However, I don't know if that applies in the industry. widely, even today. You know, I can speak for myself as a dancer. I've actually gone the other way where, you know, I was also part of a company when I was in my early 20s. And it's funny because I was like objectively a lot smaller 10 years ago. And yet I was made to feel like I wasn't skinny enough, right? So that was one. But then I went down this whole like, oh, actually, I feel great. You know, I'm like enjoying myself, blah, blah, blah. But in the last year or two, I think as I've kind of inadvertently been consuming content like a machine, I have a doom scrolling problem, but also as a dancer who's obviously so like intrigued by like all the new songs coming out and like loves watching other people perform. Like I'm all for it. What I think that's done to me is it's naturally made me feel again that there is a certain look that you have to aspire to be a I guess like admired as a dancer, respected. I don't know. It's really tough because there are so many people I can name that really don't fit that mold, you know,
Yes.
and they're killing it. And I love that. However, my focus does fall naturally on people who do fit that mold. And I think, oh, I wish my body looked different, or I wish maybe I could dress a bit different. And, you know, like, I don't know where that comes from, but actually, because that happens in my brain, I wonder how many dancers are experiencing that. What are your thoughts on, I guess, the wider like dance space today, and, you know, how we still have progress to be made, I guess? Like, what do you think there is still left to do?
Really interesting that you say that, because I am of a similar opinion. And actually, if I will say, there was, you know, we host classes all the time, and it's, we get a lot of messages from students. Is there a dress code? And I've sometimes kind of almost gone, oh God, absolutely not. And that's not to say that if there is a dress code, there's anything wrong with that. But I think there is a level of the training space has now become a performance space. And I think it's the juggling of what is, as a dancer, I think one of the things to think is why am I stepping into the space? And it's the reason that really drives how that learning experience goes, in my opinion. If you've already gone in and you need the purpose of it is to be seen, to be recognized, to get the perfect video, fine, absolutely fine. But then you're not comfortable. You're not necessarily focusing on all the other bits to learn, if that makes sense. You're focused on getting that one perfect video. And that's not to say you can't get it, but it may just not be something you want to and do achieve in that class. I'm seeing so many people take choreographies away and they dress it up and they film it, and it's beautiful to see, you know, especially if it's, you know, various different artists' choreographies. You see it in different ways and it's so nice to see. But I do think there is a level of anxiety that I've seen when people walk into a space and they're like, oh, do we need to dress a certain way for the content? And I, as a team at Bespoke, we make a point actually to say, everybody come in training clothes, like whether it be I don't know, a Govinda number or a Jigni Chameli, I'm coming in a joggers and a top, because that's how I feel most comfortable learning. And I do want that to extend to the rest of the room. If I'm looking like I'm ready to shoot a movie right at the front of the class, the person that's come in joggers and bareface and a t-shirt, just who wants to learn, might feel that they want to take a couple of steps back because that person looks camera ready and someone else might not. A few times, even I've gone to a class and I've gone, I do not want to be caught dead on a video right now. I just want to train. And, you know, it's just one of those days you've had a long day at work and you're not ready for a video. You just go and train. That's actually not really that easy to come by anymore.
No.
So people do feel that they need to prepare for these classes. They need to get dressed up. It's not a must, I don't think. I don't think it reduces I don't think it kind of changes whether you're recognized personally. If I see a bedazzled top, that's not what's going to get my attention. We've spotted so many of our dancers have come straight out of our classes, and that's not because they've got loads of makeup on or they dress like Katrina Kaif on the day or whatever it may be. It's got nothing to do. It's just how much fun they're having and how well they're dancing. And they could come in their pajamas for all I care, as long as they're comfortable. I do think there is that in the industry as well. I think there is a level of pressure to for the views, for the likes.
But also because it's your portfolio now as a dancer.
Exactly. And your social media is absolutely, it's your portfolio. So you wouldn't want to be caught in your training attire, but actually it's a training space and it's so fine. I do feel that there is that pressure, and we feel it too at Bespoke, but we really actively make a point to not succumb to it. And we encourage our people that come to our class, come in whatever you want. You want to come in a kurta for the class, 100% do it. You want to come in a jolly comfort, you want to come in a t-shirt, you want to come in leggings, joggers, whatever it may be, whatever makes you feel good is what you should come in. Not because the person in front of you is wearing their perfect wedding outfit, so now you've got to wear your wedding outfit. It doesn't mean that at all. It doesn't make you a better dancer because you look better. I think that's what still needs work in the industry. What you look like does not determine how talented you are. It doesn't matter, because talent, I mean, just if we just take a step back and look at the wider dance industry, not just the South Asian space, the wider dance industry, art comes in from all different backgrounds, all different shapes and sizes, and it's appreciated in all their forms. And I really just think that little push, and that's internally, everybody just needs to be a little bit kinder to themselves. You look great anyway. You don't need to feel like you need to look your best to get the perfect video. And that's my personal opinion. Of course, everybody does run their classes and things in a different way, and students some feel better dressed up. Fine. But I don't think there is still that presence of a dancer should look a certain way. And I really think we should push to kind of see past that, see the talent that actually sits with the people that you might not immediately think are a dancer for whatever reason. I think those are the best artists. You're like, really, you dance? And then they come out and you're like, oh my God, it's the best thing I've ever seen.
They always surprise you.
That's it.
I want to highlight something you said because it really resonated with me personally, being kinder to ourselves. For a long time, I had developed resentment of the space. And, this is like quite raw for me to say out loud, but it's conversations I've had in like closed rooms with close friends and things where I've just been like, why is the focus so much on performance or on appearance? And what I realized was, but there's nothing I can do, right, about that. Like, that's maybe someone else feeling really good in themselves, and that's how they show up.
Absolutely.
My way of showing up may be that, or it may be different, or it may vary on different days. But what I need to be really mindful of is protecting my peace, my space, my aura, whatever. And now I think I'm getting better at going into a class and actually really just objectively like celebrating someone else who may be, giving their most Sasha fierce that day. And I may not be feeling that, but I know I'm going to also look in the mirror and, validate who I am and how I feel in that moment. And something I've started doing in a lot of like workshops that I attend is my last take is always one that I don't film. So whatever I've filmed, I think by the end of it, I'm like, there'll be days where I don't pick up the choreo. There'll be days where I'm like smashing it in my head. And at the end, I'm like, no matter what happens, I want to do one run where it's just for me.
Yeah.
And it might be literally me in a corner, just looking at myself in the mirror and doing it. And I'm like, yeah, killed it. And I'll leave.
See, that's amazing.
I feel so good because I know that how I feel is what's most important to me
100%.
At the end of a class. And I never want to leave a room being like, I felt so icky because like my expectation was not met. I set like colossal expectations for myself.
100%.
But it's a bit of a process for each person because it's not an easy space to be in.
It's not,
I think.
No.
But having said that, what it's brought is just so many different types of dancers, like you said, so many voices. We're seeing like people locally stepping up and teaching, and we're seeing people internationally coming in. Mm-hmm. There is so much happening. How do you, I guess, when you're thinking about, your next workshop or your next gig or your next event, how do you make sure you're still sort of like staying true to what Bespoke stands for and, I guess celebrating everyone else as well, but not letting it kind of overwhelm you because it can be overwhelming, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Really good question. Probably the best way we do that is we really try to, before we look outwards, we look inwards as a team. So, and that's individually as well. So if there's a sound. I don't know. For example, clients approached us and they've said, can you build us something? We won't go, the first thing we try to do is really, what does that look like for us? What would a bespoke piece look like? We won't go out and see what the world's doing, because I really, just as a choreographer, the one thing that I don't do is watch someone else's choreography to a song I want to choreograph, because it almost puts you in those beats and the movements kind of almost, they distract you for a second and might take away from what your approach to the musicality is. So I think the best thing to do is, that we do as a team, is we figure out what we hear, what do we see for this project. If it's a class, it's, for example, let's go with creating for a client. The client said, can you create us B? We've gone, oh, what does that look like? And it might have a little flavour of, I don't know, a bit of Bollywood, a bit of classical, a bit of this. And we'll go, okay, so who's up? And we'll look around the room and we'll literally pick out the dancers that are they feel some kind of inspiration from the music. And it might just be, that won't necessarily have to be an active selection in the room, but it might just be that I've reached out to a couple of dancers. I've gone, oh, this sound really would suit you. What would you do with it? And we'll bring our own ideas together first. And then we draw inspiration from what the wider, I suppose, what is all the other art that's out there. We'll draw inspiration on how to elevate what we do. But the way to stay true to what we do is really just trust our process and trust our own talent and artists, and know that what we come up with may not look like a viral video that's done super well another choreographer's done. But really our job is not to mimic what someone else has done really well doing. It's really showcasing what we can do with that. And if it's not an original, I'll be honest, as a creative, it doesn't feel good. So we really, really, really start within and then build outwards. And it could start with a single dancer that comes up with a base choreo, and then we work together to kind of elevate it. Or it might be that some of us just meet in a studio and see what we can do. I mean, a really good example of a song right now is the Sayara. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. The amount of Sayaras I've seen, I've had to I've had to click past them, like, don't look at them yet. Because we were, Non-desi and I, we've started our choreography for it. And we both kind of went, oh my God, we're trying not to see anything else. Otherwise you end up, without realizing, you're influenced, because someone's movement can be so beautiful, but it might just not be how you move. So really it is just starting within. Don't start with comparisons. Don't try and set yourself a bar is what we do. Like such and such has done this. Let's go and do. It's not about what anyone else has done. What does Bespoke want to do with it? And we've got a whole community that come out to learn what we do. If we're going out and mimicking, then we might as well go and join that person's class. Yeah. So really it's we make sure that it's true to us, and we check each other on it as well. If every so often you'll find yourself, you catch onto a move and you love it. I had one for a while and it was like a roll up, and Othie was like, oh, you love that move. And I was like, now that you've said it, I can't put it in anything. And it just takes a joke at someone's expense, and you go, okay, I know what I'm doing here. But it's really just also having that honest space where you can give that feedback, because sometimes you're in a space, and if it's your choreographer, you're not going to say anything, even if they're doing the same move 5 times. But I'm really, really proud to say that everyone in our room, doesn't matter, new, have been there for 5 years, been there for 7 years, it doesn't matter. They'll go, I don't like that. Or, can you do something different? Or, actually, have you thought about this? And if it's an idea from someone that's joined us a week ago, or someone that's joined, it doesn't matter. If it's got value, it's got value. So really, I think it's that, not using what you're seeing online as a metric. Art is creative, so it's got to start with a blank canvas. Whatever it looks like for you is kind of your, I suppose, is the seed that you're planting, and then it will grow in the way that you want it to. Draw your inspirations, absolutely, but don't lock yourself into a box trying to make it look like someone else's. I would say.
I guess speaking of still like drawing inspiration from places, do you have any non-desi choreographers that you really, really love and find yourself sort of going back to, even if it's a very different style to what you do?
Oh, really good question. there was some, I watched her growing up quite a lot, and she's still a phenomenal, Jojo Gomez.
Oh, she's
and
great.
The way she choreographs is phenomenal because, and it's her dynamics. I think she's probably, I'm sure I could think of 10, 15 people off the top of my head, but she's the one that jumps out to me. She's just such an original creative. She comes up with such incredible dynamics. Also, not the tallest person. She's got her own personality, if that makes sense. Like she was this, when I met her, she came to London to teach class, and I met her, and I was like another like petite powerhouse though. And I absolutely loved that about her. And I really love that she creates for more than just one dancer. And that's something I massively connect with, because I'm not particularly, I don't love creating for just me dancing something. I always see it in numbers. And I really resonate with that in how she creates. Yeah. Granted, she absolutely does create for individual artists as well, but I know I've seen a lot of her stage productions where she's creating around an artist. And I really love that and how she builds that. So she's probably someone I draw a lot of inspiration from, yeah.
She's also just so fierce, isn't she? Her face when she's performing. Amazing.
She's got such a wow character. And we refer to it at Bespoke as a dance avatar. So actually, it really links quite nicely back to what you were saying about, like this pressure to look a certain way. Something we do at Bespoke is we say, like, you're growing to build your dance avatar. So it's not even your physical appearance. It's this persona that you embody when you start dancing. I'm sure you have it. I'm sure everybody, when the beats are about, you're like 5, 6, 7 and you snap into this whole character, and it could be anyone. Sometimes it's an item. Sometimes it's this. My favorite one from when I started Bespoke was they used to call me the Indian uncle. I loved a good Indian uncle start, like it was a great, like I love certain movements, and it really, it's that avatar, and for each and every person that's different. And I think if people worried less about what's physically in front of them and what that avatar is doing, I really think we would see some even more incredible work coming out of the industry. And that pressure to look a certain way and be a certain way physically would probably lift a little bit more.
I was going to say, and maybe like overall just healthier mindset around things, right? I always find it so hilarious because on my Instagram, whenever I post like a dance video, it is the kind of avatar that's come out, and I'm very aware of my avatar actually, but it's almost like someone who sees that but maybe doesn't see me on a regular basis probably thinks that's me, but actually it's really not me.
We get
that's
that
the face turns on when it's like 5, 6, 7, 8.
100%. And actually it's so wild you say that, because a lot of our impressions of choreographers, artists, dancers is actually just an interpretation or what we see their dance avatar to be. When we've had new dancers join us, they've, I thought you were. No, they're completely, the human being behind the dance avatar can sometimes be completely different. Yeah. And you draw these conclusions, I suppose, based on how someone dances. Powerful dancing doesn't always mean like a really extroverted character, for example. Like when I meet someone, I'm not always like, hi, hello, like not really massively, but on stage I'm really out there. Yeah. So it's really just, I think there is a whole separate personality when dance starts. And I think that's people really should draw that distinction and focus on not trying to make their physical self look like their dance avatar, but really just push that dance avatar to be whatever it wants to be. Yeah. I would say.
I think it's so powerful as a concept because even thinking about it, like, makes me feel like, oh, if I actually went into a class and, gave her a name, and if I spoke to her and I was like, okay, go do that, I actually feel like I'd push my own boundaries more because I would no longer associate with me or like the rest of how my day has gone or the conversations I've had with other people or what I think someone thinks of me. Like it would 100%. Be so irrelevant, and I could just focus on me and my training and my movement. Wow, I love that.
Oh, I love that so much. Definitely something we push in all our classes, and we encourage it across the board. So it's a really, really nice sentiment, and it's one that I really think brings out the best in people. So
yeah. I hope people really I hope that resonates with people. you've had some really exciting stuff you've done recently as a team. So you've just done a Europe tour.
Yes.
And to name the cities you've done Amsterdam, Paris, Dusseldorf, Cologne, and Frankfurt. Am I missing any?
No, that's fine. Yeah.
What made you pick those cities, and what was the experience like?
Oh gosh. Picking the cities, honestly, was just where we had the biggest pull. Where we'd had loads of messages from individual cities to say, "Oh, are you coming out to teach us? Where are you based here?" And we thought, "Gosh, we've got to come out and teach at a certain point. There's so much interest." And then we were invited by Germany, invited by Paris and Amsterdam to come out, and it was really wholesome. I will say, like, the word probably is wholesome, just because the opportunity really introduced us to a whole new community. Each and every host really openly shared their community with us. Each and every dancer welcomed us with so much warmth, and actually was super proud that we were able to do it as a collective, as opposed to just one of us being able to go and go international. It was really nice that Udi, Nav and I got to travel and do that together, because we all offer something a bit different. Our styles are very different. And actually, we've really wanted each individual city to experience what a bespoke service was like, what a bespoke class, or what bespoke training space was like. And I suppose that the talent is immense in Europe. I mean, around the world. And we've not even, when we extend past Europe, we're, really excited to meet all the dancers out there as well. But just within those five cities we went to, there is such incredible talent and such an appreciation and hunger to learn. And we got some really lovely feedback from our sessions as well. And, some of the dancers said, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being so kind." And we went, "Well, a teacher should be kind." But I think it's that perception when someone sees a teacher, that it's almost, sometimes they feel they're not approachable.
Yeah.
But if you meet us, and you've been in the room with us, we're a bunch of goofballs. Like, if you're standing at the front, you're the teacher, you're highlighted in the class, absolutely, but you're also a target if you're standing at the front in a bespoke space. They'll come for you in the nicest way possible. But it was really nice to be able to share such an open space with new cities and new communities, and for them to take to it so well, and for them to appreciate it as well. The feedback was that it was a different experience that they had. And the feedback again was things like, we really appreciate that it wasn't just all content focused. We got to meet you, we got to dance with you, and it was just so pleasant. We really built relationships that I think we, will last a really, really long time, if not a lifetime. But, and we really look forward to going back to those cities and continuing that training with them. But just the introduction was phenomenal. And even just as a teacher, it was such an honor to step into those spaces and share the space with so much immense talent.
Yeah.
The way that they dance, the choreography and things, it's like, it's truly a compliment how they can embody it and how they perform it back. I really, the happiest moment for me is when I see someone dance a choreography their way, and they're feeling so happy about it and so proud of what they're delivering, even if it's not exactly what I've taught them, and they're making it their own. So honestly, phenomenal experience. And I could speak for Udi and Nav, who have fed the same back. We absolutely loved it, and we can't wait to be back.
Oh, other cities in the future or continents?
Absolutely. So announcements will come soon, I hope.
Very excited, and loving seeing everything that you're doing. Of course, I've just seen the growth over the years from like day one, and honestly, like a real testament to you and your team, and just, I guess, the piece of you that you put into it, which really shows. And I think the community here is very lucky to have you guys, to have the vibe that you bring to your workshops. And I hope to see more and attend more of your workshops as well.
Absolutely.
I guess a very cheeky question is, when do you put out a feeler to hire dancers, in case anyone listening is interested?
We get this quite a lot, actually. We get kind of how do we audition and how do we approach. And I'll be honest, we very organically headhunt our artists and our dancers, and it's a few of our dancers have come out of our dance space, and that's not to say that coming to a class is the only way, but it's a way that we get to understand what you're like in the space, what you enjoy, what resonates with you, your personality in a dance environment, all those kinds of things. So really, we keep an eye out all the time. We're always looking, and if we spot someone that we think is a good fit, we'll absolutely approach them. And if there's interest, we're always open to people telling us that they'd like to be a part of the team and that they would like to express their interest. But we are, we're extremely selective in our headhunting, on values, on talent, on training, on the works. And it's found very organically, to be honest. So there's no particular way that we go out and find dancers. But the one that we don't do the traditional open auditions.
Yeah,
that's one thing we don't do. But it's organic, really. Headhunting is probably the best way.
So we started this conversation talking about you on a personal level, and we moved on to all things bespoke, and there was a lot of we. But going back to the I on a personal level, I know that you don't do this full time currently, which is wild that this is only just coming out an hour later into the conversation. But you are a lawyer by profession.
Yes.
And have you ever had, an aspiration to one day become a full-time creative or do this full time, or are you quite happy with how things are?
I'll be honest, I am really happy with the current setup. I really, really enjoy my professional work as a lawyer, really, really. And I really think that it helps with all the transferable skills in running Bespoke. As much as I do live and breathe Bespoke, to be honest. Getting me to stop talking about Bespoke is a whole task in itself. But what I love about Bespoke is that we get to be selective about the work that we do. I get to be selective about the people I work with. And I actually get to exercise both of my strengths as well. That's another thing. I do feel sometimes there is when you make a dance your full-time role, and I think I massively admire people who do this, massively admire them, but I do think it puts a level of pressure, and that does somewhat take away from the way we work, and the pressure means that we do need to be less selective about the work that we take on. I would need to probably push on the dance side a little bit more. But I actually really, really like that I am a working professional, but also the rest of the team are too. They all from different walks of life. And it just means that as their manager, I am a bit more competent at representing them by being a lawyer, because I've got understanding of how contractual things work, negotiations, all the things that I do in my legal job. I also do as the director of Bespoke. Also just client side of things, all of it. I really just think it makes me a bit more of an all-rounded manager to the team. And I do think the fact that we've all got something else means that the excitement to come into the space is that much more. So I don't think, for me personally, I would want to, at this stage, I'm not going to say never, but at this stage, become a full-time dancer. Because I really do love the law. And I love that, the excitement at the end of a day to go, I can't wait to go home, get changed and put my dance, get to dance. It's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think in the last 9 years, I don't think I've ever been just pulled to do it full time. I really enjoy having both, and actually both reward both ways, if that makes sense. So yeah. I've been able to bring dance into the legal sector. I've been able to run workshops for businesses that I've worked for. We've been run corporate events in spaces that I've gone, oh my gosh, these are my two worlds colliding. So it's really rewarding to be able to do both. And I'm really, really blessed to be in a position that I can manage both as well. So at this stage, I don't think I would personally want to take that full time. Yeah.
I guess we will keep an eye out over the next few years and see how it goes. But I think you're so right. You know, we're so beyond that conversation of like, oh, let me, you know, only aspire to do some passion project full time because that's the only way to be happy. It's not. I think there's a duality in life that we have to appreciate, because I think as human beings we do always look forward to, like, you know, the other thing we're going to do at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And then we also look forward to going back to our sort of like routine during the daytime outside of that. So it just kind of keeps a balance. And I know I've done the balance for so long, and I think it's completely what you say is it feeds into each other. I remember, you know, I used to struggle with presenting, and so ironic right now.
I was going to say, how? You're amazing.
I hated presenting. It was so stressful. I used to literally forget to breathe. My throat would just go completely dry, and I'd literally be like, I could not breathe basically. And I remember that as I started to perform in, like, on stages and things, actually specifically, but also as I started to take more workshops, and then, you know, you do the showcase at the end, and it's always scary no matter what. A showcase is always scary at the end. And that fear, constantly putting myself in that position every week, actually helped me with my presenting skills, and it helped me position myself more confidently in front of clients, especially when they're like kind of telling you off because like something's gone wrong or whatever. You just, you know, you channel your inner whatever persona that is, the dance avatar.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, Bhavini, for coming on the show. Thank you for being so honest, actually. Like, I feel like it's really, really nice that we're having these open conversations more, especially in creative industries, because, you know, for so many years, I think there have been these conversations had behind closed doors, and I'm really glad we're having them now kind of more publicly. But I guess the last question that I leave everybody with, which I will also leave you with, is what do you have strong game in?
Ooh. I should have anticipated this, really, shouldn't I? I believe I've got strong game in creating. That's probably the term I'd like to use. And that's not just as a dancer. What I wanted to do with Bespoke is create a safe space, a space that people feel valued, and really that can explore the full extent of their talent and art, and the art that they appreciate. And I really enjoyed creating that, and, you know, creating productions, from creating choreographies, all the way through to creating a space or building something. Absolutely love it. And yeah, that's probably the safe answer.
A true creative at heart. Thank you so much, Bhavini. You're amazing. I have immense respect for you, and I look forward to just all of the amazing things you're going to continue to do with Bespoke.
Thank you so much. I'm truly honoured to be invited, and it's been really, really nice speaking to you. Thank you.